Hello, welcome to this new episode of Adventures of a Music Educator. This podcast episode is very special as it is the first time I invited a podcast guest. My guest, Mr. Lee Voon Foong, he is a music educator, he is an arranger composer, as well as a fitness instructor. You may watch this podcast on my YouTube channel, Cherthemusic. So without further ado, let's listen to this interview. Hi, Voon Foong.
Hi.
So, so this is Voon Foong. We can say that it's my good friend from my master's degree studies. That's how we got to know each other. And so Voon Foong, can you please introduce a bit about yourself, what you do, what you're doing now, stuff like that?
Right. So, hi, my name is Voon Foong, and I know Sharon through the master, of course. And I think the time that we met is kind of like we kind of clicked because both of us has the past experience as international school teachers. So that's where we get to talk and discuss a lot about how to teach and all that. So on that point, my background, I've been teaching in international school for a while, which is before I quit my job and go into study master. I already worked for 7 to 8 years. So I have that much experience. Then I decided I need to further study and really get to understand learn a bit more about in the master degree level and so on, and see how I can move on in my career. So performance-wise, I'm a saxophonist and also clarinetist. Yes, so I play saxophone, clarinet, but I started out from, like most of us, in piano, from the traditional classical piano, and only to learn about pop music and jazz, the kind of standards in the university, in UCSI, and that's about all. Other than that, I also do a lot of arrangement. Composition, not as much, although I am major in compositions. But I do lots of arrangement work for the schools, sometimes for some performance outside for other international school that I'm not working at, side projects. But that's what we do. Yes, I do a lot of that, and I enjoy with a lot of arrangement and compositions.
All right. So can you share a little bit about what you actually do in the international school? What do you teach?
In the international school, am I allowed to say the
you don't need to mention the name, but you can just roughly describe what do you do in the classroom. Do you teach group class or individual things like that?
In the international school, I'm teaching instrumental lessons, but it's group class based.
Instrumental lessons, group class based. Instrumental as in how?
I'm teaching clarinet.
Okay.
To the students. Of course, in their school system, they do it this way, which is in the primary school years, the students, one class of students, they are split into 3 different instruments. So there's violin, piano, and woodwind instruments. So woodwind in the lower primary, which is year 1, 2, 3, they are going to take recorder. So year 1, 2, 3, they are going to learn recorder. Then from year 4, 5, 6, they're going to learn the clarinet. So they kind of graduate from recorder and go into the clarinet year 4.
All right.
And group class based. So there's not just one student.
Okay, yeah. That's
Other
good
than that,
then.
I'm also in charge in some of the instrumental ensembles. So a few instruments together. This more of co-curricular activities.
All right. And what are you doing now? Like
Now,
yes.
technically, I'm still teaching part-time in the same school.
Okay.
After I kind of what's the right word for that?
Yeah, you kind of resigned. Yeah.
I left the school but came back as a part-time teacher. To teach almost the same thing, which is, but I'm more focused to clarinet now, so I don't face the year 1, 2, 3, only facing the upper primary 4, 5, 6.
All right. So for the listeners, information, yeah, you're still teaching part-time and now you are currently finishing up your research thesis, and you do have some side hustle, right? Like, that is not related to music. Maybe our listeners will find it interesting.
Okay, yes, outside of my musical career, I also teach group classes. It is group classes, but it's called GX, group exercise classes in popular gyms. So I teach like cycling classes and mixture of yoga and Tai Chi class.
So in a way, we can call you a fitness trainer, also fitness trainer in that sense.
More accurate word would be usually call ourselves instructor instead, because trainer usually dedicated for like personal trainers, kind of idea.
Okay.
Right. Like it's like in music is personal one-on-one lesson, group lessons. Like some do that doing like Yamaha group lessons. Most of us are more familiar with one-on-one. That is more kind of like personal trainers.
All right, great. So we have in a way a music educator plus in a way fitness instructor. Yeah, instructor, not trainer, instructor. So he does quite a lot of fitness stuff, and I think a lot of us need that now.
Interesting though, because as a group exercise instructor, a lot of the classes that I teach involve music, because we teach music.
Yeah.
In a way, I'm teaching in half of my life, I'm teaching kids to stay in rhythm, stay in ball, play perform well. And the other half of my life is teaching adults to be okay. Stay in the tempo, stay in the well. It's in a way it's a performance.
Yeah, it is interesting, because I personally have not met many people who is like a music teacher, a composer, come arranger, and some more. You know, you are also doing something else which is totally, I'm not to say not related, but it's something else, more physical compared to music. All right. So I think the audience will listeners will have a good picture of what you're doing now. Okay, so the topic of this interview is actually about music research during the COVID pandemic. So I invited Voon Foong to talk about this because he was doing his research during the pandemic, and it was, from what I saw, from what I observed, it was quite tough because he had to collect data, I think before the lockdown or after the lockdown. Help me jog my memory.
I could have started the data collections before the lockdown. I could have, but I think that time I also a little bit pussyfooting here and there, so not sure what to do. And right after lockdown, basically a lot of the stuff are closed and we are kind of like stuck at home and don't have anything else to do. Why not we just go ahead and do data collection from there? But it is quite a few changes. So yeah.
Okay, maybe you can tell our listeners what is your research about and what type of research is it, so that we get a better idea.
So of course it's music research.
Yeah.
Yes. Although they somehow categorize my research topic as compositions. However, it is half compositions and half music education. The topic is about the approaches of music teachers in teaching music compositions and their self-efficacy while doing so. And then we look at the two different the relation between the approach they take and also their self-efficacy, how they feel about themselves when they teach music compositions. Because from the years of experience, having quite some contact and some communication with other teachers, I find that a lot of teachers are like kind of like, music composition. I don't know how to teach because I don't compose. Like I don't feel good about music composition. There's like kind of lack of confidence there from. I would say most music teachers out there have this kind of view on themselves, unless they are being pushed to teach that.
I'm pointing to myself because I'm one of those teachers who are not very confident about teaching composition. Very scary topic.
But it's you can't escape it because like most music theory exam involves like I would say the classic question number 3, which is compositions.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So every student that you want to teach, like at least if they want to go past grade 5, they need to get through grade 5 theory. They have to learn how to at least compose let's say I think it's 16 bar of melody, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, around there, about 16 bars, yeah. So in case the listeners don't understand, when he refer to grade 5, he means the ABRSM grade 5 theory. Yeah. So coming back to your research, what type of research is it? Is it a quantitative, qualitative research?
So my research is targeted towards music teachers. So in a way, I don't think I can contact that many music teachers to collect data. So it has to go into qualitative. So it's more of interview-based data collections. So I could have made a survey, a questionnaire, so to like spread it out and ask everyone how they feel and what approach they use for teaching music compositions. But I think because the variety can be very wide, but I force it to be everyone teach very differently. So the best way to describe the my research question is to quantitative.
Quantitative.
Yes. Quantitative. Yeah. If I want to go into quantitative, I kind of need to like preset myself. Are they teaching in this way or the other ways? Yeah.
But I think in the end, you kind of scope it down to teachers who worked in full-fledged proper schools, right, in the Klang Valley. Yeah, specifically in Klang Valley. And I think Voon Foong you're targeting teachers who are working in private and international schools, right? None of them were from government schools or even music academies.
Yes, I'm targeting. I'm going more precise on one of the subject in international school that definitely need to do music composition, which is the IGCSE or A level or IB music subjects. Although these 3 are elective, but music composition is quite a big component in these subjects. So they are more likely to touch on music compositions than because some international schools don't really offer music subject even.
Yeah.
So
it's quite limited. Yeah, just for the listeners' information, in Malaysia we have a lot of private and international schools, and I would say most of the schools adopt the Cambridge curriculum, the Cambridge syllabus. So that's why we have O-level music exams. And there are also some schools which are IB schools, International Baccalaureate schools. So how many of those teachers did you manage to find? Like a good combination?
This is kind of like a self depreciation kind of thing, because I kind of aim towards eight teachers to interviews, but at the end I only could find 6.
6. So because
I at the fundamental level, humans are unpredictable.
Yeah.
Everyone would be willing to be interviewed or comfortable to be interviewed. Yeah. So you're asking?
Now I'm asking, in those 6 teachers that you managed to interview, like how many of them are IGCSE music teachers or IB teachers, or whatever?
almost towards the end of my data collecting, all of them are IGCSE teachers. One or two touch on IB level.
I see. Was it very hard to get information from them?
I find music teachers in Malaysia's kind of sense kind of behave in two different extremes. One of them is really reserved. Okay, I don't want to. It's better I don't want to get interviewed. It's better they give you quite a lot of excuse that they don't want to get involved in any sense. Then that's the other way that the other end of the spectrum that they do. We will do a little bit what we call oversharing, which is good for data. Yeah. So for those who are willing to take part, they are very willing to tell me what they do and how they feel, this kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I totally understand that lah, because somehow
We've been through it.
Yeah,
we've
been through it. Somehow when we talk to peers in the industry, you on the opposite spectrum, you will have someone like me who just share about everything, and then there will be the extreme spectrum that I'm going to keep everything to myself. I'm not going to tell you anything, so you're not going to get anything out of me. So I feel quite sad sometimes when people behave like that, especially if you meet them in networking events, like conferences or trainings, and you always see like cliques of people, there will be cliques of people, and I'm always the one, the solo ranger. I'm always the ranger, the solo ranger, lone ranger that goes to all these events, and I don't know who is who and what. But eventually I meet some people that I know lah, so not too bad. So aside from the difficulties of getting information from some of these teachers, like what is the real challenge during this pandemic for your research? The real challenge, the difficulties?
I think okay, so that was my topic of my research. So what I do is to interview them. Before the lockdown, I was advised to do at least to do some kind of observation, as a class observation. So I need to go to the schools to go into their classroom and observe them having the composition class. However, so it's a good news and a bad news at the same time, because we all know that because it's private and organization school, if you need to go to the school ground, you better have a good letter to the at least the head department of the school to require some kind of grant, some permission to go there. And also apart from the school, you need to grant permission for the students and the students' parents and so on. It involves a lot of people and a lot of permission there. So I actually foresee a lot more roadblock from there.
A lot of obstacles, yeah.
Yes. So it's also a blessing in disguise. So after the lockdown, I don't have a good reason to go into. It's good. I don't think it's good to go and barge into some other people's Zoom meeting to observe their online composition lessons. Yeah. So after the lockdown, I had to change my methodology a little bit. So I still have my set of interviews, but I also I have to really triangulate to make sure that the data is there. I have to find another way of featuring another kind of data. So yes, reading really helps. Reading a lot of methodology helps. So other than observing, we can. So how about the proof of the? So it's all about evidence. So evidence does not only exist in observable present can be past evidence. So I asked all the teachers to give me a list how they plan their classes, or more of the official, the corrected is documentation, all the documentation. So it's more from there I can analyze and observe whether they really do what they say.
Past experiences and documentation, yeah, that's the only way, I guess. So in a way, you get them to rehash their past experiences through the interviews.
Yeah,
I assume. Okay, quite similar to what I did for my research also. Like I had to dig into the past of my participants, find out what's their musical background and things like that. Yeah.
I think a lot of qualitative work is like that. It's like digging into some kind of historical,
Yep.
little bit of more sense of historical data.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was obviously you can't go and observe. Before pandemic, or if there's no pandemic, you could have done that. So is there like anything extraordinarily different from the norm that you have to do? Like, how's your interview like? Was it also like a video call, or is it an in-person thing? In video call also?
If can, I insist on video call, unless the internet fails us, which sometimes does. Yes, throughout Zoom call. Even for me, even a few of my interviews, halfway through the call cut off.
Ooh.
For some reason. So I have to like call them again and start another set of recording to kind of like restart the conversation again.
Oh, you have to restart the conversation.
No. Start from the last.
Oh, the last bit. Oh, yeah. Oh, correct.
Yes. I think most of us already experienced halfway through the Zoom meeting that it's suddenly lag and no response from the other side. And better to find some way to go around there real quick.
Yeah.
Even one or two of it, I had to switch platform. I say Zoom to WhatsApp call or Facebook call, that kind of thing.
I guess video calls nowadays it's quite accessible in that sense. But have you like heard from other people, or have you spoke to other people who have to do research now, and they have to do something totally never done before?
For now, I think in the sense of research, I think worldwide, all the postgraduate in worldwide, they have to recalculate how they're gonna go about their methodology. But there is some of my friends that's like, because their research starts before the pandemic, so it's like, I'm fine. I already sent out all the survey questions, so I just now waiting for it to be collected back. So it's simple for them.
I'm not sure if you notice or not. Like, I notice a lot in my Facebook. I have quite a number of friends who are still pursuing postgrad. I see that there's more people doing quantitative studies, but in the form of surveys. So they need to get like a lot of people to do the surveys. I think even more than the normal, likely. Yeah, I believe so, because everything is online now. We can't go out and distribute physical surveys. That's what they would normally want us to do, right?
I feel that before the pandemic, there is this trend of having the survey moving into online mode. The trend is already there.
Yeah, it's there already. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's all data. Speaking of data, the people who deal with data the most is, let's say, at the IT, the marketing department of any company. So those companies are already start using online surveys, email surveys, all that. So I don't think yes, the research, the academic, people should just keep resolving on paper or go on the road to give people that use to see.
Do you think this pandemic is discouraging researchers from doing qualitative type of research?
Yes and no. Depends on what kind of research and also of course the topics. If you're saying just interview on online interview is good enough, you get the data that you need. However, it's not the same as face-to-face interview. In the case that like let's say ethnomusicology, you want the person that will start doing something and their instruments are very different because of the camera angle and also the quality of the recording mic.
Yeah. Observations, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, most observation, that is another category which is I can't do. I cannot go into the place for the control of movement. Yes, that too. Other than that, it's limiting the kind of the freedom of qualitative, where you are because in qualitative we are kind of advised to go out and explore and deal with people.
Yeah.
That you can find.
Yeah.
But in lockdown, it's you can't actually do that because everyone needs to be. The only way to do that is probably snowboarding, which is a friend of a friend knows this, or maybe I contact a friend of the hand friend of the other friends, or maybe ex-colleague of a friend. That kind of thing. Yes.
That's what we do a lot in the beginning of the research. Go to Facebook. You know anybody who teach composition? You know anybody who's learning piano now on their own?
Yes.
Aiyo. But
yeah, but it's I'm not sure whether it's fruitful.
Yeah, I cannot imagine if I were to do my research during the pandemic, because I mean, one of the few moments that I remember from my research is being able to visit my participants in their environment. So there's this participant who stay in Ampang or Kepong. I have to travel very far just to go and visit him and observe his environment. So I was thinking if I were to interview him through a video call, for example, I wouldn't be able to see that stray guitar in the corner. I wouldn't be able to see that, wow, he's actually like a gamer or something, got another computer set there. Like, wow, he actually invested in a cork piano. I wouldn't be able to see all that, and because I was able to go and visit him and see his environment, I was able to pick his I'll say knowledge. I was able to pick up on his experiences, through my observation and ask him those questions. So I think, I cannot imagine if we were to do that online, we wouldn't be able to see all that, and it will be very hard to mine the knowledge. Now we all talk about mining data. So data mining. So we cannot mine, like that, unless our participant is willing to tell us more, or we are able to ask the right questions. Yeah.
Or the limitation of we can say that sometimes even for us we can forget that, I actually learned this before, or I forget that I touched on that before. It doesn't come straight out on the mind. So maybe you kind of like neglect it or omit that details. Yeah. That's the limitations. Yeah. But even for quantitative, other than survey is of course the most easiest way to get data and a lot of data, because you can send it to the whole wide world, right? However, there's another kind of quantitative, which is I think kind of quite tough to do during the pandemic, which is the experimental. Need to figure out how to safely do the intervention with the COVID-19 safety precautions. So, you have to rethink the whole experimental format. But then, or if you already have the control group and before control pilot experiment before the pandemic, after the lockdown, it can be changed. Maybe you have to disregard the first one already, because everything can be challenging variables.
Yeah, experimental. You're right. Yeah, just like, before this interview, we're talking about, friends who are doing research with children, music education involving children. Now, I personally feel now is a very bad time to do any research that has to do with children, and especially if you need to observe them, unless your topic is about virtual learning. Then that's a totally different story. Yeah.
But so that's where the two sides of the same coin comes in, which is
the adjustments.
The flip side is now there's a bunch of opportunity for everyone to research on virtual learning and the effectivity on that.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Which is some of my participants actually told me that because it's online learning, they felt quite difficult, because in classroom they are sitting side by side, they can discuss this and this composition idea, and straight away they can, okay, I think this idea, and they can just go to the piano and show there and play together. Maybe you want to do this, and ask the students to maybe try improvise and explore in the piano straight away. However, online you can't do that because of the physical distance.
The virtual distance, so to speak. Very near, but somehow feels very far.
Yeah, and also some of the latency issues also, which is we barely touch the surface of the wall.
So let's not go to latency.
Yes.
The moment I think about latency, I've discussed, I think I have talked about latency with my other teacher friends since the start of the pandemic, and it's driving everyone nuts. Personally, I'm almost, I won't say give up, but I'm on the verge of foregoing anything that is performance. Yeah, because I have a colleague. She's under me, in that sense. She's a junior teacher. So due to her lesser experience in teaching physical class, okay, even in physical class she doesn't have a lot of experience. So you can imagine how insecure inexperienced teacher will be in a virtual setting. And she's very used to traditional styles of teaching, right? And she's very good in vocal. She's more on the vocal side when it comes to teaching. So I cannot imagine the pain. Maybe I do feel it, but in a different way. But I can only imagine the pain for this kind of teachers. They are very grounded in the traditional style of teaching, and they find it so hard to overcome latency, and they don't know how to get about it. So me being the more tech person, I have to encourage her to use different methods of overcoming that, like using hybrid styles. Like for me, I was using this hybrid style where I already recorded video tutorials of myself, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or not too long. And then I differentiate the students according to certain groups. So the students are instructed to watch the video. And then the task, they already know about it. So if they have any problem with the task or they want to ask me any questions, they can, ask me, check with me. So that's how I overcome latency. In that sense, that's how I overcome latency.
Yeah, for the most part, that the whole thing that you just mentioned is like kind of what I kind of like found in my research, which is at the self-efficacy, which is the teachers. Self-efficacy is how a person's value themselves to not value themselves. How they feel they can achieve the task or not, how much they feel they can achieve the task or not. So, like your the colleagues is very new, so they have no experience because the first source of self-efficacy is actually mastery and experience. So, because I think it speaks out for every teacher out there, because the more you teach, the more you feel that you can teach.
Yeah.
The more you teach, you feel that, okay, I have more experience, I know how to teach. You are feeling that, okay, next student I can teach better than the last. So that's the first one. If the teacher is new, they have to rely on the second one, which is their observation.
Okay.
Yeah, they only can get the kind of experience from observing their peers, like observing other people, so they see, oh, other teachers can do this, I can do this as well.
Modeling, in that sense.
Yes, the correct term is social modeling, which is so I observe the other person's the other teachers, how they teach virtually. Maybe I can teach this way as well. So it's a social modeling. Yeah. Then there comes the third way, which is the social support, which is from you. It's quite down the rank. So it is something.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
It is. It's all in that self-efficacy theory. So which is, well, I learned something in master degree.
Hey, you have broken down to me self-efficacy in a very easy way. Even I can understand now, because no matter how much I read last time, I was like, oh my lord, what is self-efficacy? I know it's something about being efficient, is it?
Okay. Because efficacy is such a buzzword because of the thing now. Self-efficacy is no, none of that.
Okay.
How effective are the task? How effective you feel you are in the task? In a way.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Oh, it will be very interesting to do research on music teachers and their self-efficacy in this current virtual class situation. Actually, it's very interesting, I think.
Yes.
It will be nice to know how our peers in the industry feel now, because I think my personal experience and having interacting with certain group of teachers, there's an extreme group where they are willing to learn. They'll do anything, willing to learn, because they know if they learn it, they do it well, their business will thrive. Especially a lot of our peers are freelance teachers, right? So their careers will thrive, the business will thrive. And then there's the extreme end where I feel they are in some form of self-denial. So because they are in some form of self-denial whereby they think that, oh, this pandemic is just going to blow away very soon, so there's no need for me to do anything or learn anything. Yeah. So in that sense, the self-efficacy level, I think, is not stable. I think.
Fluctuating.
It's fluctuating all the time. Yeah. And they want to, and then when they reach the point where they like want to learn, they find it like, so difficult, so much work. There's this group like that lah.
Yeah, which is bringing to the almost the last part of what you said just now, how you overcome all the hurdles in virtual learning. For me, myself, because I'm still teaching clarinet virtually, quite of a number of work that you have to do virtually. You have to do much more than just, okay, I have my clarinet, I have my books, and then I just appear in the studio and I can just teach. It's not that anymore. So you have to like prepare even more and be more precise, because time is more than the essence now. It's even more scarce as a value now. Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know how you teach clarinet because I heard that wind instruments have a very hard time on virtual lessons.
Yes. I actually found out because Zoom has this auto audio suppression. If it detects noise, it just filter out.
Mm-hmm.
In wind instrument, we have this exercise called the long tone exercise.
Okay.
So basically, you just play one note and sustain that note for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it is knowing instrument strength, breath control, embouchure, muscle training, and all that. However, it's working against me because it's detecting that as I think it's kind of treating it as a car that drove by or something like that. It just figure out. I can just hear the student start the note, and then it just cut off.
Ouch.
But I can see the students are still blowing, but I can't hear anything.
Gosh.
Yes. So
how do you overcome that?
Sometimes you have to trust.
I know how that feels. I also do that.
but trust is one thing. Then other than that, you can just modify it because long tone can be modified. So what I've done is ask the student to you play this one note again, but this time you do a crescendo and decrescendo, or vice versa. So the noise suppression will detect something is going on, so I shouldn't cut off. It's kind of like jump.
That works. It works.
So far it's been working better.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, I think because the Zoom AI think that it's a hum of noise that is like behind like a air conditioner kind of noise off that is sustained in a one level. If it's increase or decrease the level, you'll notice that normally Zoom cannot cut off like a person, some people blending in a blender or like drove past the kind of sound. It doesn't cut off that, so it has to have some kind of variables dynamic type of pitch.
I see. Okay, very interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, we have
need to hack the system.
yeah. Well, we have sidetracked away from the topic, but I think we almost covered most part of the topic that we are talking about, which is the music research during the pandemic. Like, do you have any like closing words, any thoughts about how research can be improved during the pandemic? Like, if anyone's tuning in and they want to try.
I do have ex uni mates, much younger to me, which he actually just started his master degree in our university.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he kept asking me a lot of questions, how to do the assignment and citation and all that. Yeah. But same wise, I actually quite encouraging because most of the musicians out there don't have something to perform now, right? To do the performance. So, by saying that, doesn't mean that I encourage you have to go and get enrolled in any university and whatnot. It's good if you want to go into university and get into that route and know more of the academia and stuff. You have someone to actually guide you. But you can, all this, I think you and I both learned that research journey is all our own because postgraduate is more of a self-learning experience nowadays, right? So if you can't perform and you are out there, have nothing to do, you can. There's a lot of things that we can go research into. If you are a classical music teachers, let's say classical piano music teacher, you can go on research more on like one of your pieces, like our performance practice.
Yeah. Performance practice, yes.
Yeah. The old wound. Yeah, and listen to that, and there's quite a lot of like good even like YouTube content, or even like some of the stuff out there that's educational, and you can start thinking knowing how they actually do research, follow through that path. Yeah, so research doesn't mean that it's you just write a thesis out, but research can be you'll be surprised the amount of research that people have done for a video essay can be much more than us.
Yeah, I totally agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But-
just it's just like myself now. Although I'm done with my masters, but I'm still studying one thing or another.
Yeah. It's a continuous progress. It's always perpetual. Yeah, you always have something to know about. So even for me, after I finish my master, I probably if I'm free, I will be like researching on like some kind of self what's it called then? Self-funded
Oh.
research.
Oh, okay.
Nah, just like write some simple blog posts, some simple research. That's all.
Will you consider PhD after you are done writing with your masters?
Probably not. Yeah, although if I have to do my PhD. There's something that I think I'm gonna research on, but that's nothing to do with my master degree, which is compositions and music education. Maybe a little bit of music education, because in PhD level, I better start thinking of my career, right? My path, how what we want to be known as. So in the beginning, I have introduced myself. One part of it is teaching music lessons. Another part of it is teaching physical as a sports exercise. So I'm thinking of way if I can like blend these two sides together. Like I think overseas they have started this, which is injuries for performers. So probably I'm gonna look into that. So and like devise maybe something to really mention of the well-being of musicians.
Yeah, I think they call it what, performing arts medicine.
Something
like that. Yeah. That would be interesting. Well, good to know. So, we have really come to an end to this interview. But before we go, do you want to share, like, if anyone interested to contact you, how can they reach you?
I think I'm quite approachable in Facebook. You can drop me a message. I read through the message requests from time to time.
Yeah, Facebook. Also, they can find you at Voon Foong Lee, right?
Voon Foong, yes.
Yeah. No Instagram, nothing. Nobody can drop you a DM.
Instagram and Twitter is quite personal, so that's
Okay, it's okay. All right. So if anybody is interested to know more about what Voon Foong has talked about, you can always drop him a message at his Facebook. And thank you, Voon Foong. We spoke for an hour, but thank you. But it's interesting. Okay, our topic deviated a bit, but very interesting. I think they are all related because it's
a lot more we can discuss. You're welcome to do that.
A lot more. Yeah, sure. Okay, so thank you very much once again, and I want to hear your good news when you finally finish everything, settle everything with your masters. All right.
Yes.
So
Look forward to that
Yes.
too, yes.
yeah. So okay, thank you, and see you sometime soon. Hopefully physically.
Yes. Hope to see you real soon.
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
For most, stay safe.
Yeah, everyone stay safe. Music research during the pandemic is indeed challenging, as you can tell from my conversation with Voon Foong. However, there's also new opportunities as well. So that is all to this special podcast episode. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I do. If you like this podcast episode, please make sure that you like it on my YouTube channel or even follow me on Anchor and Spotify. I would love to hear your feedback about my podcast episode. So stay tuned for another episode of Adventures of a Music Educator. Bye bye!